Hey all, this is Oasis. This is part 2 of the best PC game of all time. I've finished the list now, actually, and stuff like that, so I'm just gonna read so you can catch up. And then once we reach the newer numbers, which is basically, number 30 to 50, basically, is when I'm gonna explain a bit more about the game. So anyway, so this is part 2 then, a particular order, because the order does not matter yet. It will matter in part 3, because part 3 will be the final part when we reduce the list down to only 20 games, because 20 masterpieces, because the goal is basically to only ever allow 20 masterpieces, right? And because I thought about a better way to do like the whole best games of all time list, I did the top 100, There was skate and everything, but it is very, very easy to forget game. So what if I use focus around one thing? So like focus around PC first. Finally, I'll go, okay, who are my best 20 PC games? But it have to be games, that I've actually owned. And stuff that, so yeah. But yeah. So anyway, so they are in order here. But eventually, once we put it out to 20, we will put them on the first to just 20 games. And then, of course, the whole ordering thing happens. Like okay, how are we going to order them? Like, are they going to be used games that can used to disappear very easily and stuff that probably, and then it's going to be really hard to reduce it down to 20, of course. So anyway, so Max Payne 2, Green Fandango, Unreal Tournament 2004, Command & Conquer Red Alert, Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun, Unreal, Half-Life Opposing Force, NOLF, No One Lives Forever, Unreal 2 Awakening, Duke Nukem 3D Atomic Edition, Quake II, Quake 3 Team Arena, Doom 3, Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Neverwinter Nights, Fallout 2, Cinema Civilization 4, Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction LOD, World of Warcraft The Burning Crusade, World of Warcraft, The Elder Scrolls 3, TES Morrowind, Guild Wars 2, Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning, Discworld 2, Phantom Fury, and then now is the new stuff. So I'm gonna say the number, but the number doesn't matter. At 30 we have StarCraft. StarCraft is just very, very obvious, and stuff like that. And then we have 31, 32, and 33 are all the sweeps of StarCraft 2. So StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm, StarCraft 2 Legacy of the War, StarCraft here. 34 I decided to add Half-Life, and stuff like that. So we can definitely decide on which one to bring, and stuff like that. And 35 is Half-Life 2. 36 I added Unreal Tournament from 99, that's the first one. And then the 37 Unreal Tournament 2003 was the sequel to 99. That was the first one they did, the Unreal Tournament 2003. And then there was the 2004 one, and then Unreal Tournament 3. Stuff that, which technically Unreal Tournament is technically Gears of War supposedly is supposed to be like a sequel to the Unreal Tournament series and stuff like that. Except of course, there's no black Locust is something completely new and stuff like that. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because of how things look in Unreal Tournament 3. But it wasn't Unreal Tournament 3 after Gears of War. Hadn't Gears of War already happened when Unreal Tournament 3 came out? Because it was a whole in Unreal Tournament 3, the graphics changed a lot to be more like Gears of War-esque, but it's not as colorful and stuff that like it had like a weird coloring to it and stuff that, So yeah. Anyway, at 38 we have Command & Conquer Red Alert 2. So I had that, and then 39 the regular used Command & Conquer as well. I did not add Black Red Alert 3, I did not add Command & Conquer 3 like with both expansions and stuff that. I did not add Command & Conquer 4 like Tiberian Twilight. Stuff that's, yeah. Number 40, Age of Empires 2. Number 41, Mafia. 42, Crisis. 43, Crisis 2. 44, Rift. Rift was used absolutely fantastic, because Rift is where I made Tongue Slip, I think, was in Rift. Because in Rift you had you were free to choose whatever talent combinations you want. And I believe I chose the Bard combination with the or actually maybe it was part of that class, because I chose the firing distance weapons. and stuff that I don't think I ended up being male. I think I want actually with this things, and I went like with musical things, so I would buff myself with like music things and stuff that, and then I was like ranged and stuff that. So yeah, so that was the only class I got to max level in Rift and stuff that. But the Rift was actually really good in my opinion and stuff that. Rift was actually really fun. Rift did look a bit unique, and I really liked the whole event things they had going on in Rift because this town is under attack or whatever, right? And even if like certain parts of the events that can happen in Rift you can do kind of solo, but there are certain parts like when we was defending the town where there were things that were way higher level than me, so it could kill me really easy, so I had to try and rely on the guards because I think there were still guards in the town and stuff there, but yeah. But then, those felt like really fun. 45, Heroes of Might and Magic 3, which was insane. By the way, that was an absolute insane game. So that I had it back in the day, but I had like a burnt version of it and stuff like that. Yeah. So then eventually I got rid of it. I actually sold it to a friend. I'm pretty certain and stuff like that. Yeah. And 46, Lord of the Rings Online and Lotro. I really liked Lord of the Rings Online. I still have my actual account and stuff that in Lord of the Rings Online and stuff that. But yeah, it is very special and stuff that. I actually really liked when I came when I started playing it and stuff that, because you had like the whole Druid class was in there and stuff that, and I actually leveled a couple of classes, 2 different amounts and stuff that. And I do think that they had some unique classes in Lord of the Rings Online. Right, because you had like what was it? I think it was Champion. I think it was that had like the whole buffing system. Like what if a warrior, but then instead you're more of a support warrior. So it was more about like the whole buffs and stuff there. But then like instead of just like the buffs are just boring, just press the buff button. No, but you would have like attacks that would give you buffs. You would do one attack and then it would buff you or another party members as well, stuff that. And I thought that was a really cool way to do the whole buffing system. Like, yeah, use casting buffs this point, but what if the buffs did damage? What if you would damage enemies and then you buff? Instead of just being like, I'm just gonna stand here like, blessing of kings, blah 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 blah. And I'm gonna do this. Right, instead it would be like, now I could say it's like, boom, now everyone gets like attack buff. Now I cast Holy Shock, boom, now I give intelligence buff. Or something like that. Like, imagine that, right? Like, you want to do support gameplay, and stuff that make it so that the buffs are actual attacks. So that you want to, like, have them with them in. Like, sure, the buffs can be shorter, like, the buffs can be like a 10-second buff or 20-second buff or whatever, right? But then if it's part of your rotation, and stuff that, then it's actually really fun. And then there might be certain attacks that you would be like, man, I do a little bit less damage with this. But this buff is really good, and stuff there, because then it would be like, okay, like, I can do a little bit less damage, or I can do quite a lot less damage. This attack only does 20% of the normal damage, but this buff lasts a lot longer. Like, this is like a 10-minute buff. Like, okay, like, or something like that. Like, you can, not a 10-minute buff, but you get what I mean, right? But yeah. At 47 we have Quake, and at 48 we have Doom 2, and 49 is Doom, and 50 is Warcraft 3D Frozen Throne. I didn't choose Reign of Chaos because Frozen Throne is just superior when it came out. And stuff that the Reign of Chaos actually did was funny because the upkeep worked differently. The upkeep was way harder. I think it was in the Reign of Chaos, right? Or was it because I do remember they changed the whole, how early the whole food thing happens, how early the low upkeep happens, and the high upkeep, and that was different in Reign of Chaos. Or was it that Reign of Chaos was harsher when the upkeep happened? Did the upkeep happen earlier, or was it later in Reign of Chaos? And then, the upkeep system existed from the very beginning. And I do think the upkeep system is smart, because the upkeep is like, it doesn't affect your lumber income, but it affects your gold income, and then it's like, okay, what is it? 10 gold they give each time, right? They return, right? 10 gold, I think it is. And then at low upkeep, it's what, like 7 gold? Or is it that harsh? No, I think it's 7 gold, and then it goes down to like, what, 4 gold? Or something like that. You know, or maybe I'm just saying completely wrong because I don't remember and stuff. But yeah. But yeah, Warcraft 3 was just so good, like the campaign and stuff. That the annoying thing is, of course, is apparently the thing is not tied to your account in Warcraft 3, like in Reforged. The progress is not tied to your account. Whatever it's actually tied to a save file, so I lost because I done the hard mode campaign on in the Reforged mode, because to get so I had gotten all of those portraits, and now I don't have those portraits anymore because it requires you to do the campaign in Reforged, and I wanted to for once do the campaign in normal, in the normal graphics, in the old classic style and stuff, that even though I'm doing it on hard, and hard is actually surprisingly easy. It's actually pretty funny and stuff, that hard is actually not hard at all. There are a few missions that I would say are actually hard and stuff that most missions aren't hard, even on hard and stuff that. Right, there are a certain few, but that is depending on how much you know about the game. But the interesting thing is in the campaign, or at least in the Warcraft 3 campaign, things are completely different. It's not the same balance as in the multiplayer. It would be cool actually if Grubby could do a tier list of the campaign specifically, and specifically separate Reign of Chaos campaign, because the thing that I was surprised about in the Orc campaign, in the prologue, the grunts don't have heavy armor, which I'm pretty certain they have normal, right? Because piercing damage was good against the grunts because they have heavy armor, so piercing is good against them. But then it's weird because in multiplayer, they have nerfed they have nerfed piercing damage, the piercing damage that they do to heavy and stuff like that. But now instead they have medium armor and stuff that, which is interesting. Grunts with medium armor, and stuff that, would that actually be good in multiplayer, right? Is medium armor technically better? I'm gonna actually search. Let's do some searching here. So, Warcraft 3 Reforged medium armor. So you take 150% more damage, which is not double damage, by the way, because 100% is default damage basically. One ability takes 150% from normal attacks, most melee units. Strength takes reduced damage from piercing, ranged, and magic attacks. Oh, wow. So if Grunts had medium armor in the whole campaign, then that means that fucking ranged, which also basically is piercing damage, I think is what guard towers does. So grunts are now all of a sudden way better at dealing with the towers. They take way less damage from the towers. Common units typically assigned to archetype unit, yeah. Spellcast and workers, arch hunter, says rifleman, ghoul, footman, grunt. Alright. Strategic is often used by units that needs to survive range fire but must keep away from the line when they come out. This armor type act as a counter to ranged heavy armors, but was the place to protect those units from melee units like grunts and footmen, yeah. But the funny thing is, normally grunts don't have medium armor, but grunts with medium armor is actually insane. That is how it is in the campaign. And stuff like fucking hell, man, grunts with fucking heavy armor, man, that's insane. Medium armor and stuff that's actually, let's bring the camera up a little bit there. So yeah. Anyway, so now that we've done this, right, the next thing is gonna be reducing it down to 20 games in a part 3 and stuff like that, so yeah. And I mean reducing 50 games like this, and you could say certain ones are just very obvious. You used to move Rift, for example, sure, and stuff that, but then then probably Discworld 2, right, and stuff that, and probably Guild Wars 2, probably, there are probably some very, very obvious things just to remove and stuff that, but then, like Doom 3, or not Doom 3, but probably the expansion Resurrection of Evil. Even though Resurrection of Evil is technically better than the expansion, Resurrection of Evil was short, but it was much more focused, and you had some really, really awesome powers in it, and yes, it had a sort of shotgun. But then regular Doom 3 had so much for fucking atmosphere because it was dark and it was more almost like a horror game in certain aspects and stuff and that made actually Doom 3 really, really cool. And then also the fact that it had a pretty interesting speed run, if I remember correctly. Because, of course, you could use to write down what the codes were to things, like and stuff so you could remember, like, because there were certain weapons, like, if you kept a lookout for the codes in the game, then there were, like, sometimes you could get certain weapons earlier and stuff but there is actually a way to get the BFG early, if I remember correctly, and stuff which was actually pretty crazy that you could do, because normally you're meant to return there, right, and then enter a certain password, I believe. But if you know the password, I believe you can use enter it early there and stuff like it's kind of meant to be like a new game plusing, even though there's no new game plus in Doom 3. But now I played the game, and basically because you get back to a certain place, I believe it is, and then like a place that is earlier in the game that has like a BFG and stuff like an early place, but you're not meant to know the code yet. And you don't get the code until like way later in the game, right, and stuff right, because you're not meant to get the BFG and stuff but yeah. Maybe I could already remove certain games here just that I would know, right, Maybe we can put a symbol though or something like that next to something, one that I know that I'm gonna remove just to give a little bit of a thing here, and stuff right? Some things that are obvious. This will too, yeah, this will to probably remove, so I'm putting a symbol next to it. Rift. Yeah. So that's 2 games already. The other Rings Online probably, yeah. But man, it's rough. It's rough because they're reducing it down to 20 and there's just so many good games here. Probably Unreal 2. Yeah. Because the regular Unreal is better technically than RE2. But RE2 is so very, very different and stuff though. In RE2, I showed it was a short game, but it was like, graphically it was super impressive. You might say, but the graphics doesn't matter. Yes, but it kind of does in FPSs. The graphics can be better, but it's also about whole art direction and stuff and you're a spaceship and you actually talk to people. And of course it had like you could almost say that it had RPG elements in it. But was that the first shooter where you actually had options where you talked? It was not just used talk, right? Because if I remember correctly, there were actually options to what you could talk about and stuff if I remember correctly. And you cared about the people on the ship, and then like horrible things happen right to the people on the ship, right? I forgot it. Like, did everyone else die, and only you survived, whatever it was, or something like that, But yeah, and it feels like wrong to remove the regular Unreal because I like Unreal so much, man. San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 3, because like I would love to have both of them. Because Grand Theft Auto 3 was used enormous when it came out, and I got it when it came out on PC and stuff And sure, like people had already enjoyed it on PS2, but it was just something very, very special. Not only with the way it was done, right, and stuff but the whole atmosphere, and yeah, sure, it was like very, very primitive 3D, like Grand Theft Auto 3 wasn't a super good looking game. And stuff all things considered, right, like it was good looking, and stuff but yeah, it was great. It had like the hidden packages and stuff and you could find quite a lot of the hidden packages in each part of the city and stuff and if you went for maximum hidden packages in each part of the city before you advanced, then like it was a lot of like you could gain like the pistol would be the first thing I believe you got from there for packages, and then you got more and more different stuff and stuff eventually you also got like armor and other stuff, and it would spawn at your headquarters or basically at your home base in whatever city you're in, basically, and stuff so yeah. But yeah, do we just remove regular Quake? Nah. Yeah, let's say we only allow one from each franchise, one game, or whatever, right? Right, so Doom, Doom 2, Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil, or Doom 3. Man, Doom 2 is so great though. Now regular Doom is gone. Doom 2 is gone. And Resurrection of Evil is gone. Doom 3 stays. So if I do that, then Grand Theft Auto 3 or San Andreas. I mean, San Andreas was such a better game though. Because San Andreas was absolutely massive, like the world is crazy how much big it was. Grand Theft Auto 3 world, quite big. Vice City, of course, even bigger. Why did I put Vice City on there? Because I had Vice City on the PS2, so, you know, so it's different. I kind of wish I had Vice City on PC though, to be honest, you know, and stuff like that, so, you know, but yeah. Because San Andreas had a whole RPG system where you could be fat, and there were like advantages to being fat, if I remember correctly. But mostly there were super advantages if you were muscular, because you could like swim longer and stuff like that. And it was that. But I forgot. Did you get tankier if you had more health, or like if you got like really fat, did you like take less damage or whatever, or could you increase your max health or whatever or something like that? But yeah, actually let's take San Andreas then, because San Andreas was kind of like a. I mean, Grand Theft Auto was such a revolutionary idea, but then San Andreas was just, you know, such a better game. So if we do the same thing with Quake, but I should probably put regular Quake 3 Arena as well and stuff like that. But yeah, so Quake, Quake 2 or Quake 3 Team Arena. I mean, I really like Team Arena because it has a lot of gameplay to it, but Quake 2 was actually my first Quake game. Like, I had only played Quake 1 on a demo and stuff there, but I eventually like got Quake 1, or actually technically I didn't own Quake 1 until the console version and stuff there, but I had played Quake 1 fully on a friend's place and stuff like that, so yeah. So regular Quake is gone. Or is it? Yeah. I don't want to spoil too many of the things here that's gonna go gone. But yeah, Team Arena we can remove. Even though I really like Team Arena a lot, because I prefer the arena style shooter and stuff like that, but the thing is, right, that sure, like, maybe they would have counted as their own games and stuff like that, right? Because I'm gonna do that with Unreal. Like, when it comes to Unreal, it's either keeping Unreal or Unreal 2 Awakening, but then the Unreal Tournament games will be on their own, because they aren't in the same universe as Unreal, but Unreal Tournament, I think, is where we're head in the future. Unreal 2 is very far into the future, though, because Unreal 2, the scar in that is very different in Unreal 2 and stuff like that, right? And they made that be a big deal, actually, and stuff like that. And I might actually keep both of the Unreal Reels there, so, but yeah, so it's either Quake 2 or Quake. Quake 2 is just the first one I played in the Quake series, so. Not the first one, because I did play the shareware version of Quake 1, and I played through that so many times. And shareware was just such a good thing, because it was like, okay, like, you could play the entire first episode, and so that was basically like the first world, technically, we would say, just in, and stuff like that. And then you could even, I believe you can even speedrun the shareware version. There's actually something that there exists, like a shareware speedrun of Quake and stuff like that, which is actually really freaking cool. Like, if you have shareware version of certain games, you can do a unique speedrun. But I definitely think that you need to play the shareware version to that. You cannot play like you just play Quake 1, like the regular full version, and then you just play the first chapter, because that's not the same as doing it on the shareware version. Because there are things you can do otherwise. But yeah. Now, let's not take Quake 2. Even though Quake 2 is my personal favorite, it's just that Quake 1 was so important to the lore, and that Quake 1 was still a science fiction game, right? The people that say, oh, this is a medieval game. Nah, but fucking lightning gun. Yeah, sure. And then like the nail gun is not just like, oh, it just shoot nails. No, but it fucking does rapid fire nails, and then you had like super nail gun and stuff that in Quake also like with the whole like demons and stuff that like with the Shambler. The Shambler was like really fucking scary and stuff that, but because the Shambler fucking shoots sliding and stuff that like Shambler is pretty dumb though, but yeah, but Quake on harder difficulty is so fucking intense, and you have the hoop 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 because you want to bunny jump around in Quake and stuff that. And seeing like a high level Quake speedrun, right? Like sure Doom speedrun, Doom 2 speedrun, sure cool, but fucking Quake speedrun. Like, if you want to see a good FPS speedrun, then like Quake, regular Quake is just, man, it's just so fucking good, man. Oh, yeah, so. But then, after the Unreal Tournament, so 99, 2003, and 2004, which I said, of course, that 2004 is kind of everyone's favorite, and stuff that, but there are things also that, for example, like, in 2003, when you selected your character, or whatever that you wanted to use in like, not in the campaign, right, but specifically if you do the whole instant action thing, like against bots and stuff that, then when you select the character, then it's like, it says their name, you know, and stuff like that. Torch, Mr. Crow, you know, and stuff that, like, Black Yak, you know, and they say like the different names of the characters and stuff that. And then in Unreal Tournament 2004, the only name that gets announced is Mr. Crow. They didn't do that for all the other characters. Like, what? Like, why? Like why not anymore? Like, right, because that announcer is still available, the 2003 announcer, because the 2003 announcer is the default announcer in Unreal Tournament 2004. And it's just that announcer is just so fucking happy. Yes, I love the original announcer because monster kill. But then, of course, they made like the monster kill sound even cooler in 2003 and stuff like that. But yeah. But I mean, I really like 2003 a lot because 2003 was more simple, I would say, because yeah, it's like, okay, the fact that, you know, like, and I don't know how they decided what the final boss was going to be in Unreal Tournament 2003, because the funny thing is, the first time I beat Unreal Tournament 99, I did it with Thunder Crash. Well, technically you didn't play the Thunder Crash team, but I played as Malcolm from Thunder Crash, because the team was called Thunder Crash already then, I believe. And the funny thing is, in Unreal Tournament 2003, and I don't know if they checked the data, if they somehow could check the offline data for Unreal Tournament 99, like, okay, which character did people beat the game most with? Right. And probably Malcolm was the answer, because in Unreal Tournament 2003, the champion, the final boss in 2003, is Malcolm again. But there were other supposedly champions too. The legit champion of 2003 storyline-wise is actually Gorge and stuff like that, because I forgot in what Unreal Tournament, in 2004 they talked about like former champions and stuff like that, and then they mentioned Malcolm. They mentioned Sun Krieger, which is in Unreal Tournament 1. Sun Krieger is the robot guy. I am the Alpha and the Omega. And then they mentioned Gorge. I think that was what one of the Space Marine-like things were called. Like the gene-boosted Marine, so yeah. But man, the Unreal Tournament 1 is really, really hard. I would actually like to keep all the Unreal Tournaments, because I believe that they are used, all of them are standalone games, and all of them are really, really good in their own right, and none of them I think is worse than the other ones, except for maybe Unreal Tournament 3, but I actually liked Unreal Tournament 3, but then I was also kind of bored of it at the same time when I played it for the first time, if I remember correctly. Right, like, and it wasn't that it was boring, it was just that it didn't feel sluggish either, but it just felt like certain matches just lasted way too long, like they shouldn't have lasted as long as they did. And stuff that maybe it was the difficulty in the game, or maybe it was just that, because the worst thing is if you're on a level, or if you're doing deathmatch, or if the deathmatch match is, or I don't remember if the one-on-one matches still existed, but even if there were several enemies on a match, if they made it so that it felt too sluggish with trying to kill stuff, then that felt really, really bad. But yeah, so we already know some of the games that we're gonna remove from the list, but yeah. But I will think that will do it, because I really need to go take a dump. And tomorrow, I'm not going to be doing the top PC games, but I will most likely do the Game of the Year video tomorrow on the 21st, so that gets done. And then maybe on the 22nd I will do the PC games and stuff that. And I will probably have reduced it to 20 games by then and stuff that, and and it's gonna be crazy to see what games gets removed, because so the amount of games we have removed so far, or that are potential for removing, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 games. 9 games from 50. But we need to go all the way down to 20, so 50, 40, 50, 40, 30, 20. So 30 games, we need to remove 30 games. And we're only at 9 so far, so, yeah, it's gonna get rough. It's gonna get pretty rough, but yeah. I hope you all will enjoy this, though, and stuff like that. And the next one I'm gonna do with the PC thing is gonna be the whole top 20 list. And then next year I will probably do more of the top 20 list, but it might take a long time to do the list and stuff like that, right? Certain things will probably get one shot, like on the SNES, for example, on the Super Nintendo games. It most likely just be a top 20 list, just immediately, or like with the orders being the orders, and I will probably do the orders on the game live, because 20 games I can just think of fairly easy, because I don't think that we could reach like 30 or 40 games when it comes to Super Nintendo games and stuff like that. And with the Super Nintendo, I will not take games that I owned. I will take games that I own like later on and stuff like that, via the SNES Classic Mini and stuff like that. So yeah, But I hope you all enjoy this, and I see you all next time.